Peace. The Mystic, talking about mental illness, mental health. This is part 7, practical uses for universal law. We are dealing with law of attraction, but when we say law of attraction, that could be your connection with the divine, magic, inspiration. So law of attraction is like a blanket term for general magic. And so we're talking about mental health and how it may disrupt, manifest in those things that we truly desire and we truly want. Just going to get into some points and really discuss mental health and what it is and how we can help ourselves by alleviating it and understand the root of it, where it comes from, and dealing with the root of it all. And once you deal with the root, then you deal with the fruit. And so to produce some bomb-ass fruit, we're going to deal with changing some negative thought patterns. But the law of attraction is boiled down to imagination. And so when we speak about imagination, we are not talking about daydreams and fantasies. Imagination is based upon constructive thoughts bringing about constructive results. So one could fantasize about a song, daydream about a song, but when you use imagination, you're actually crafting that song, how you want it to sound, what lyrics are you going to put in it, and what the lyrics mean. So when we talk about law of attraction, imagination is a vital key point to manifesting, and what stops us is fear, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and depression, because these modalities, these mentalities, they make whatever you experience in that moment real. So if you feel negative, no matter the reason why, you're dealing with a level of blockage of attracting that which you truly want. Because to deal with the divine, to deal with the true source, it is representative of joy and laughter and enjoyment. And so tapping into that is a hard thing based upon society and the external world, because they have hijacked our 5 senses. And so to get into this level, to get to the sixth element, or the 666, or the melanin, you have to bypass the 5 senses. So anything in magic, anything in law of attraction is beyond your body. So when you deal with fear, post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, you are dealing with the physical body. And so understanding when people talk the way that they talk and they deal with the things that they deal with, they have actually gone outside of themselves or within themselves so deep that it's bypassed the 5 senses. But everything in your reality, everything in the media, everything in society is triggered by your 5 senses, And so the remedy is always to go beyond your 5 senses and really use your imagination, really use your meditation. And you cannot go into these modalities with negative thoughts. And negative thoughts mean destructive thoughts. Thoughts that aren't going to help you build. So we have these conversations, and I do these videos to be deliberate about my mental state. My mental state remains positive for me, and all I want for everybody else is to gain that understanding. So it's never about me, it's always about whoever is receiving the message, that you are your own superhero and you are the one that has to tap into that. And that's my message. So imagination is really a constructive use of your mental capabilities. So why do bad things happen to good people, you may ask? The answer is that they are ignorant, and they are ignorant of their divine self. They are ignorant of their ability to use that which is within them to fuel them and to guide them to everything right about life. So when you're ignorant, that means you're also ignoring and you're unacquainted with the divine. And if you were to look up the etymology or the definition of these words, you will see not to know, to be unacquainted, mistake, misunderstand, to pay no attention to. And so we make mistakes because we do not follow our inner guidance system. We look for external cues. We look for signs and symbols and words and gurus and people, when a vast majority of our time that we're able to, we need to be going within. We don't need to look on the TV screen for validation of our power. We have to actually work with it and deal with it and understand that it's not based in the physical world. So these mental diseases, these mental illnesses, fear, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, depression, they're based on the physical body. So when we speak of constructive and harmonious things that we want to attract, we have to sometimes go outside of our present situation and look for something deeper, something more meaningful, and things that are better for us. So ultimately, the only thing that we can do is take our present situation and make it beautiful. So that's our only task in each moment, is to make every moment that which we want to experience. So in other words, if we see messes in our lives, it's our responsibility to clean it up. So if we don't take that responsibility to clean up any messes in our lives, then we are projecting what is called evil. And evil is just a result of destructive and inharmonious thoughts to our inner being, because a mess to you is something that disturbs you on the inside at a core level. So if you're disturbed in any way on the inside, then that is putting out the law of attraction of negative effects and negative events. And 9 times, 10 times out of 10 is not what happens, is how we respond. And are we going to be active in cleaning up the mess, or are we going to complain about the shit? So understand there's only one force, and we can use that force to complain, or we can use that force to create. The choice is always yours. But when we get into our bodies, we get into media, we get into mind control, we are dealing with a force that we are beat down. We are beat down constantly, subliminally, on the physical level, that you don't want to go into a gunfight with a knife. You have to go to a whole nother area altogether till you get your weapons and get your money together. So as we want to contend with this physical plane as melanated beings, individuals with the sixth sense, this is that age, this is that time that we can actually use that is within us and really win and really be guided. And if you didn't do that yesterday, or if you never did that in your whole entire life, you have to make that choice at a certain point called now. And you have to continuously make that choice when you're up against the clock and you understand that time is only experienced in the now. And you have to constantly make the wise choice, the choice that your gut says do it, or your gut says fuck no, and your gut says listen to this, your gut says go here, your gut says don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person, your gut says do research on real estate, your gut says fuck that nigga. Like, you really have to deal with your own inner guidance system as opposed to letting your physical body direct you, and that results all the time in mental illness and a lack of mental health. So a goal for every initiate or every person that's trying to gain consciousness is that their perspective is king. An example, if you're driving down the highway, you can actually look at everything at the same time. But if you have a perspective like you just start to look at your cell phone, then you can't see none of the road. So ultimately, but to be a successful driver, you have to be omnipresent. You have to see everything. You have to see behind you, in front of you, around you. And you have to drive safe. If you ever get subjective in your perspective and you looking directly at a car, then you lose objection. So to be in the divine flow, you have to constantly be objective. There's so much going on, positive and negative. You cannot lose control of your perspective and your objective nature. Really tapping into your godhood. What is God? God is all seeing. God is all knowing. So we have to start to incorporate that into our mental habits and our mental diet, and not be so subjective and so focused on our external world that we are limiting our view and limiting our perspective and limiting our growth. We are dealing with the frequency of nature, because we know that the opposite of nature is unnatural. So nature is something that supports growth, and so if we deal with things at a root level, we will sustain that growth. The universe has to respond to nature. A tree has to grow unless it gets chopped down. And so a lot of us with mental health and law of attraction, we are chopping ourselves down with limiting beliefs and thoughts, and not trusting our modalities, and not even knowing how our body works on a metaphysical level. Where is my soul located? Where is my solar plexus? Do I do chakra work? Knowing the energies and knowing how you can actually use your body to do other things than eat, fuck, and drive places. And like, you can actually enter altered states and different bodies, astral bodies. But I'm not trying to get real deep. I'm just saying that your perspective on who you are as a being is everything. So if you're just a weak person, or you feel bad because you've had a negative experience in the past, that's your perspective, and that's what's truth. And so once you hear about the law of attraction and the wonderful things people are doing with their energy, it's something that you can't necessarily vibrate with, because your view on yourself is limited. And generally we all deal with it. So it's not something that I'm saying to a certain person. I'm saying this to myself, and really checking me personally in the things that I'm doing without thinking, things that I've been doing since I seen my mama do it, and I seen my daddy do it, and I seen my uncles do it, and I seen my aunts do it, and I'm not even checking for myself. Or like I said at the beginning, that inner guidance system, I'm not fucking with that, because I'm dealing with my habits and I'm not changing my habits. See, this is a major reason why we actually need to focus on healing ourselves on an inner level, so we can get in tune with our intuition, so we can get in tune with our vibration, and see the things that we want and the things that we need outside of the families and the friends. Because if you're still trying to go with their program, but then tap into this magic and tap into this law of attraction, it's going to be a block, because your spirit is not, unless it is, but if it ain't, it ain't, and you need to respect that. So we just really want to alter those negative mental habits. Online you could look up negative mental habits. I seen something about 6 mental habits that most of us really suffer from, and that's guilt, failure, the wanting to be perfect, wishing that we could change the past, comparing ourselves to others, and trying to please others. So ultimately, we need to deal with that guilt. We need to understand that once you deal with the God within, it is no failure. Once you start really honoring yourself and believing in yourself and building yourself up and cleaning your room and washing your dishes, like, shit starts to change when we really start to care about ourselves and our environment, and realize striving to be perfect when you know your unique self is so beautiful and so remarkable and so wonderful and so great that you should never compare yourself. That is a problem. To look at another woman or look at another man or look at another child and just be comparing and rating. You need to start appreciating, and that's really something that could really block you from this law of attraction and wanting to change the past when the whole point is to change your future. But you still regretting about shit that can't nobody do nothing about. And guess what? The earth is still going on. And I'm from a person of tragedy, but ultimately I get to a point where I have to embrace this moment, and I know that happiness and joy is a choice. So I'm making the choice to think constructively. I'm not making the choice to think destructively. Really not allowing these negative thoughts to enter my mind and really substituting negative thoughts for positive thoughts. When negative thoughts enter my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't want to attract that. So let me think about something positive. And that's really key to really start to control your mind. Because when you start to control your mind, your life changes. And that's just a fact. But I'm wrapping up this build. I just wanted to talk about the laws, the universal laws that I've been touching on this whole entire build, because the point of this video is to tie in universal laws and then make it practical. So I don't start with the universal law, I end with the universal law, and I speak the practicalities and how you can use these universal laws, because a lot of us get caught up in the abstractness of it all. So the laws that we talked about today was the law of magnetic impulse, and that is known as the first step towards marriage. Now, marriage could be your relationship to a person, your relationship to a career, your relationship to a song, a situation. A marriage is just represented as a union. So, and that what you desire is desiring you at the same moment. But guess what? If you're thinking about your ex-boyfriend, that's taking you out of that paradigm. That's taking you out of that frequency and vibration. And so the more that you can focus on it, the more that you can align and get ready for what your destiny is, purpose and planning, that's the closer you get to it. And it's an eventual union. You're not feeling this way for nothing. I'm not having these conversations for nothing. I'm speaking life, and I'm speaking prosperity and abundance to everybody and to myself. And I'm not doing this just one video. I'm doing this every week because that's how serious it is for me. And if it takes me 20 years, once I finally get to where I want to get to, I want to get to more. So I'm not going to never stop the conversation of abundance, prosperity, and joy, and freedom, and love to myself and to everybody else. And so that's the magnetic impulse. The second law is the law of responsibility. And so we touched on responsibility. You have to be responsible as a soul. To whom is given, much is responsible for. So you have to really not take it as something that somebody is going to hand you and somebody is going to guide you along the way. You came on this planet already God-bodied. Now, you've been tricked out of that. Now it's trying to get back into that. So that's what these conversations is for. We could be a victor or we can be a victim. You could be always looking for help, or you could be actually out here trying to help people. And that's always your choice as a God. So with that being said, man, check us out, man. www.hoodmystic.com. What happened? Oh, hoodmystic.com. That's basically it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for the comments. And I'll be back, so get used to me.